Hello guys, how are you?
I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you can guesswork. Please, guys, participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Part 1.
You will hear a man talking to a woman who works in a rental agency. Take 30 seconds to look at questions 1 to 4. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 4.
Good morning, Lakeside Rentals. How may I help you?
Yes, thank you. I am interested in renting a cottage by the lake this summer.
Wonderful. Let's start by taking down your information. May I have your name, please?
Gregory Thornton.
And what is your mailing address, Mr. Thornton?
That would be Box 7, Hartford, Connecticut.
Box 7. Was that Hartford or Heartland?
Hartford. Hartford.
Ford. Wonderful. All right then, Mr. Thornton. What is the size of your group?
Pardon me?
I mean, how many people in your party? How many people will be staying in the cottage with you?
Oh, right. Just my family. My wife and our 2 sons and myself. So that's 4 people altogether.
Perfect. We have a number of cottages suited for a small group. Now then, when did you want to begin your stay?
We'd like to get there on July 10th, if that's possible. I mean, it's possible for us, of course, but if you have any vacancies then.
Oh, certainly we do. Our busy season really doesn't begin until August 1st.
That's good to hear. We were hoping to stay for a couple of weeks.
Fine. That'll give you plenty of time to enjoy the area. So I'll put you down for 2 weeks.
Yes, I really wish it could be 3, but we have to get back to work before the end of the month.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, take 30 seconds to look at questions 5 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 5 to 10.
I understand. Let's talk about the cottages we have available. Do you want a 2 or a 3 bedroom?
Either one would be fine.
Well then, Pine Cottage is lovely. It has 2 bedrooms and features a porch off the living room, so you can enjoy sitting outside.
Oh, that sounds nice. What's the rental fee?
It's a small cottage, so it's just $700 a week. Our other 2-bedroom is Maple Cottage. It doesn't have a porch, but it does have a large window in the living room with a spectacular view of the lake. It's a bit larger than Pine, plus it has the view, so it goes for $850 a week.
What about a 3-bedroom cottage?
Hemlock Cottage has 3 bedrooms. Are you interested in cooking?
Not while we're on vacation. We weren't looking for a place with a kitchen.
Well then, I suppose the fact that Hemlock has one wouldn't matter to you. And it is our most expensive rental at $925 a week.
So you do have a cheaper 3-bedroom?
Yes, there's Spruce Cottage. Actually, it has an extra small room downstairs, so we call it a 4-bedroom. It goes for $900 a week.
Does it have a view?
No, but it does have a nice little garden in the back.
I'll need some time to think this over. What activities are available at the lake?
We rent both water skis and canoes.
I definitely want to do some paddling.
There's also horseback riding lessons, and we have tennis courts where you can play on your own, and you can also sign up for lessons there.
I haven't been able to pick up a tennis racket since I hurt my elbow last summer.
I'm sorry to hear that. You might want to think about joining some of our guided hikes. There's one every day.
Sounds great. My wife and I will both enjoy that.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
A guide welcoming visitors to the city zoo. First, you have 30 seconds to look at questions 11 to 17. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 17.
Good morning and welcome to the City Zoo. We are excited to have all you teachers here with us today to learn about the zoo and the programs we offer to school children. And we hope that all of you will plan to bring your classes to visit us during this school year. We're open almost every day of the year, including holidays, with the exception of the last week of the year. We close for that entire week. Other than that, you can plan to bring your classes for a visit any day you like, any time between opening at 8 to closing at 5. We try to keep our entrance fees as low as possible, and school groups get a discount of 15% when you bring a group of at least 10 children. You may also want to take advantage of our free days. We don't charge any entrance fee on the first Monday of each month. Let's start with a look at a zoo map so you can get an idea of what's available. Here in the lower left-hand corner is the main entrance. Across the pathway to the east of the entrance is the education building, where we are sitting right now. Here in the northwest corner is the picnic area, which is a good place for you to plan to have lunch with your class. To the right of it is the cafeteria. Lunch, of course, is available there too, but most teachers, I find, prefer to have their students bring their own lunches. The picnic area also looks out over the small lake, just to the south of it, which is in the area where our water birds are. So it's a pretty spot. Just to the south of the water birds is the small mammal house, which most children enjoy visiting. If you'd rather see some large mammals, the elephant house is located across the pathway to the west of the small mammal house. Just north of the elephants, you can visit lizards, crocodiles, and turtles in the reptile house.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, take 30 seconds to look at questions 18 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 18 to 20.
Okay, let's talk about our education programs. At this time, we are set up to serve children from ages 6 to 10. We hope to have something in place for older children by next winter, for the 12 and 13-year-olds, and I can talk a bit about our plans for that a little later. For high school students, up to age 18, we have some plans for them in the works too. Unfortunately, we have nothing for preschool kids, the 4- and 5-year-old set at this time. So, for the primary school kids, we have several programs you can choose from. Animals Up Close is a popular one. Kids get a chance to get close to actual zoo animals. While we can't allow the kids to actually pet the animals, they can help with the feeding. And we talk about animal care, keeping the animals clean and healthy, and we give a grooming demonstration. For this, and all our programs, we provide teachers with reading materials to share with the class before the visit. You can also use them as a resource if you plan to test your class on what they learned during the visit. All our programs last 1 hour, and we do expect you to stay with your class during that entire time.
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
You will hear a tutor and a student discussing a seminar. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
Come in.
Hi.
Oh, hello, Ahmed. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
Have a seat. So, how do you think the seminar went last week?
Oh, well, I enjoyed it, yes, though I'm not sure I really followed parts of the discussion that took place. You know, about the theory and all that.
Well, we can talk about that later. But were you comfortable in a group?
Oh, it's better, I think, than working on your own, though you're comparing yourself all the time with the other students there.
Okay. Well, let's talk about how you did and look at some strategies to help you in the future.
That would be great.
Now, one of the things that students often overlook when they go to seminars is that you do need to prepare for them. You can't rely on other people.
I know, and I did look at the results of the experiments we did in class and write them up beforehand, as you said.
Yes, and that was good. It made it easier to analyze them. But you have to do some background reading as well. Did you get the list of articles I sent round?
I've started to read them.
Okay, well, you'll know that for next time.
Yes, sure.
So, let's move on to your participation in the seminar.
Right.
Perhaps you can tell me how you think that went.
Yeah, well, I'm not used to talking to more than a couple of people. It's very different from the way we learn in my home country.
Yes, I appreciate that.
So I think well, I know I should have included everyone, but I think I kept turning to the person next to me.
Is that because you were avoiding eye contact?
I don't think so. I'm not shy. It's just habit, I think.
Well, that will improve as we do more seminars.
Uh-huh.
Another difficulty is knowing when to speak.
Like when it's your turn.
Yes.
Yeah. I felt I did wait for a pause.
Yes, you handled that quite well.
The thing I'm really concerned about is keeping up with the discussion.
Does your mind wander off?
Sometimes. I jot down a lot of information, but I still find myself thinking about something else when lots of other students are talking.
If there's an assignment to do at the end of a group, that usually helps.
I'm sure it does.
Okay. Now, the last thing I want to look at is the role that you play in the seminar.
What do you mean?
Well, when students work in groups, they don't all behave the same way. Some students are quiet, some look for support, some ask a lot of questions.
Oh, that's a new idea to me. I don't know what I'm like.
That's probably because you're thinking about your own performance all the time.
I guess so. I mean, should I be different in some way?
What I would say is that when we do the next seminar, you should look more at the people around you. You know, look outside yourself.
Like ask myself how they feel?
Yes, or what they're looking for from the group.
Okay.
It doesn't take much, but it's important to watch what other students are doing.
Okay, I'll do that.
Fine. Now, I'm going to suggest...
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 27 to 30.
Now, I'm going to suggest a couple of strategies for next week's seminar.
Okay, that's great. I need to participate more.
Well, it's not a question of saying more, but we need everyone to feel comfortable about giving their views.
Then the discussion is better.
Yes. So, you're a confident person.
Should I make sure I'm near someone who's quiet?
You can do, but it's more about how well you pay attention to other students.
Okay, so I need to be attentive.
Yes, and then encourage someone else to say more by saying, "What did you mean when you said," or "What do you think about the idea that..."
That way I'm talking.
Yes, but you'll find that other people will talk too. You'll all start to get really involved.
Right. They're good suggestions.
The other thing that can really help is the way you take notes.
Yeah, I know I write down everything, but I should be stricter with myself.
Well, you actually need to think a few days ahead.
Really?
Yes. What's the topic, and what's the best way of making notes?
I see. So I have a strategy when I walk in the room.
Exactly. Then when you read through them later, they'll make sense, and you won't have to write them out again.
I always have to do that.
The other thing I would say is that you should include a small column in your notes where you can jot down things you want to go back to before the seminar ends.
Like a reminder.
Yes. Notes aren't just for later. You can use them as a prompt when there's a pause in the discussion.
That's been really helpful.
Okay. See you in class tomorrow.
Thanks.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
You will hear a lecture on desert plants. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
In today's lecture, I'm going to continue our work on plants and talk about plants that live in the desert. Now, just a bit of background information first. As you know, about 1/3 of the world is covered in desert, and the sort of area they're found in is important. Deserts are usually created because the area of land where they lie is located in something that's called a rain shadow. Now, this is a region that's beneath a mountain range, and what happens is that the wind blows over the mountains towards the area, but as it does so, the air loses its moisture and becomes very dry. Because of this downwind location, rainfall often totals just a few inches a year, or in some regions, there's absolutely none. And you can imagine the effect of this. It means that whatever rain does fall evaporates quickly from the ground, and that makes the soil salty and also leaves behind a whole range of other minerals as well. Now, despite this, deserts are home to many living things. In fact, they're second only to tropical rainforests in the variety of plant and animal species that live there. So, how do plants grow in a place that's so dry? Well, they're specially adapted to do this. In fact, many of the fascinating features of desert plants are adaptations. These are traits that help the plant survive in its harsh environment. And desert plants have two main adaptations. The first is that they have an ability to collect water and to store it. Some have large root systems and amazing internal water storage systems. The second adaptation is that they have features that can actually reduce water loss, and these are often very special leaf designs or additions to the plant structure. So let's have a look at some examples. Desert plants often look very different from any other plants. Okay, this first one is the saguaro cactus, which grows in North America. It looks a bit like an open hand with long fingers. This plant has a large network of roots that extend far, far away from its trunk, and these roots collect water after rain. Then the water's taken here to the green stem. This is where all its water is kept, and it keeps the whole plant alive until the next rain comes. It's a pretty, woody plant. In fact, its skeleton is actually used in building materials, so it's quite strong. This next plant is called the barrel cactus, named because it does look rather like a barrel. It can grow up to 1 meter in height, which is pretty big, and it has long yellow spines. Now, this plant has an interesting adaptation because its shape allows it to expand when it rains, hence the barrel, and store water in its spongy tissue. But then it shrinks in size during dry times as it uses the stored water, so that's a clever design. This third cactus, often just one plant reaching upwards, has these white hairs all over its surface. It's called the old man cactus because of the white hairs, and these help the plant reflect the hot desert sun. So this adaptation is a water conservation aid, if you like. Another adaptation, not directly connected with water, but with survival, is found on something like the prickly pear cactus. There are hundreds of these in the Mexican desert. I'm sure you've seen them on films and adverts. Yes, so because desert plants store water in their spongy tissue, animals will eat them. So the plant has sharp thorns, specially designed to prevent the predator from being able to, well, get near it at all. Our next plant is called the desert spoon. This plant has long leaves that fan out, and they're very succulent because they can also store water inside. However, they're also usually very tough, and this helps keep the water inside and also makes them less tasty. Finally, we come to the aloe plant. This is one that many people keep in their homes. It's an attractive plant which has leaves that look and feel rather waxy. This surface behaves in a similar way to a plastic wrapper and helps the plant to hold the water in. It's a wonder plant, this one. Its juice has been used as a medicine for centuries, and even today you can find it in products on the pharmacist's shelves or in creams and lotions. OK, well, we're going to take a closer look.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys, participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.